shouldn't say this. I'm sure I'll get in trouble, but I can honestly say I licked that car when it was there because I was so excited. I just said, you know what, I'm going to do something that I can say that I did. And I licked that car, but
I got to ask, because I maybe I'm missing something, but when you say licked, do you literally mean licked, or is that you
yes.
actually, or is
I
that
actually
slang
licked the
for
fender.
something?
I can tell you it's on the passenger side at the fender corner right by the headlight. Because I had to do something really quick. My hands were full, and I wanted to say that I touched that car before security was there.
So the only clean spot on the car is right there, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Before COVID.
Okay.
Before COVID, yes, before COVID.
Hey everybody, it's often been said, if done properly, classic cars could be described as a work of art. And part of that can be accomplished with a paintbrush. Yes, even though this isn't a car, and hopefully this is, oh, it looks like it's a broken glass is what it is. Anyway, this was done by none other than the man with the beard, Johnny Martinez.
Yeah, that guy.
Striper extraordinaire. And joining us, of course, Emily Bradsher is right there. And Emily is also a person who does stuff like this. You know, it's beginning to strike me that I buy way too many bottles at Johnny's house. But these are very cool and well done. And we're going to talk a little bit about pinstriping and the history of pinstriping and their personal history about pinstriping. And let's start things off with Johnny. When we talk pinstriping legends, okay, so I was looking this up, actual research done by the host. And it's like, okay, I'm seen upon Von Dutch, which is obvious.
Oh boy.
Locally in Southern California, Von Hot Rod, which we see him in a lot of places. And for some reason, it didn't strike me, but Ed Roth is also credited for being a huge pinstriper.
I've seen his car. Well, I saw his car. He was calling on one of my clients one time, and he had a Volkswagen he would drive. And there wasn't a piece of panel or metal on that car that did not have striping of sorts. And he was an expert at that. When he got out of the car business for a while, he was actually a sign painter at Knott's Berry Farms. He did all the antique-looking signs and such that were surrounding the buildings and things of that nature. That's what he went to, and that was kind of a situation. He had some issues in life, and that plus a remarriage got him all sorted out. And that was before the resurgence, Roth and rat fangs and things of that nature. And it really cleaned him up, so to speak, and got him focused back on his art.
Wow.
Yeah, rumor has it you can still go and find a whole bunch of them if you go to Knott's Berry Farm. That's the myth going around, is that you can go and actually still find some of his work today. It's kind of cool.
Yeah. Really? Oh, I'll have to check. If you're ever on the way to Knott's Berry Farm, go ahead and take pictures and send them to us here at Talking About Cars. That would be interesting. Or email them to us at our locations. Why, it's talkingaboutcars@gmail.com or hotrodbob01@yahoo.com, because as we all know, Bob's about as big as Yahoo as they come. Thank you. Thank you. Hey.
Yahoo!
Thank you. This is what our show is. We just have way too much fun zapping each other. But Johnny, when you got started, were these guys one of the reasons you got started, or what got you started in pinstriping?
You know, there was a guy that striped all of my cars or my motorcycles back in the day. A guy that I was friends with, barbecues and parties and things and other things we used to do. And he was a friend of mine, and he was a pinstriper, and I would just see him do all this stuff. But I guess I just didn't tune in. I like cars, but I didn't tune into that so much as later. And then I started hiring him to do things for me. And again, we were close friends, so I would watch him when he'd come to my house or I'd go to his house. But it was what he did that just intrigued me. Then I was going to car shows and I was seeing other pinheads at these shows, and I'm going, man, I want to learn how to do that one day. And he's the one that actually inspired me. You know, it wasn't even Dutch or any of those guys, you know, in the beginning. And then when I got into it, then I started meeting other artists. and I started doing stuff that these known guys, did. And I really started to begin to understand the moods and the concept. My striper would sometimes say, come back Thursday, it would be a Tuesday, come back Thursday. I says, well, are you busy? He goes, no, come back Thursday. And I didn't ever understand that. And you got to kind of, well, me personally, you got to kind of get into the moment to pull something off. And I might do something 2 or 3 times and I stop and I put it away and I go away from it for an hour and I come back, boom, I nail it. So I was learning a lot of things as well as trying to find who my mentor might be. But it was a guy named Rick Grindle, who was my mentor, no longer with us. And that's how I got into it.
I think today's word of the day, our vocabulary word for this episode of Talking About Cars, pinheads. Yes, pinheads, nickname for a pinstriper. You don't have to be afraid that they'll retaliate later if you call them a pinhead. So
yeah, no, that's what they call them.
That's what they call them. And you can call them a striper, but just make sure it's not a stripper. Just saying.
That's right.
That's it.
Well, I have that problem over here about that word.
Yeah.
So, I think up here in Washington, we may have stripers. I don't know. Maybe that'd be something new for the car industry.
That's why pinhead's easier.
Think about it.
Yeah, pinhead's easier to spell. Yes.
A little bit. Yeah.
On this though, after I got into it, I think Emily might be able to agree with me on this. You put yourself in a light doing this kind of work, and you almost kind of got to be careful now with behavior because everybody starts to know you, and you can get eight-balled by association over one thing. And I think you, Randy, Bob, in the same situation. We're in that light now, so everything we try to do, Emily and I pinstripe together, and everything we try to do is real positive and real fun and productive. And so that's kind of where it all ends up, unlike Dutch back in the day. There's a lot of stories about him.
Yes. Yep.
Well, that was a different time and a different era. So Emily, tell me, was there anybody that you looked up to in the pinstriping world that got you into it, or how did you become a pinstriper?
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember growing up and back in the magazine days and the newspaper days and the auto trader days, I had this collection of all this artwork that I liked from all these different car shows and these pictures that I inadvertently realized I was taking of the car paint and of pinstriping and of styling. And I remember saving all those, and I actually went to school for body and paint a number of years ago, not going to disclose that. But I went to school for that, and they had a class that was pinstriping. And I remember thinking about it as something that, I can't do that. Are you kidding? Only the pros can do it. Only Von Dutch can do that. Only Hot Dog Pete can do that. Only these amazing greats that were out in the world. And I didn't think it was humanly possible for someone like me to do something. So I tried it on a whim as a joke, and it kind of took off from there. Not realizing how welcoming the entire community is. And I could meet some of those greats, in time, and how, seriously, they just opened up their arms to me and said, oh, cool, you're into being a pinstriper? Come on, we're going to show you everything that's going on. So I never thought of it as an art form that I could follow and get into by seeing these greats, like you're saying, the Von Dutches, the Ed Roths, even some of the female, Candy Striper. I remember seeing her stuff back in the day and just going, God, I wish I could be like that. But it was kind of more momentous of meeting a few. I think Johnny will relate to that, meeting a few pinstripers and realizing that they want you to be interested in the art form that they do. And here we're going to do everything we can in order to help you along the way. And that was kind of what really pushed me into it. So it's kind of a mixture of both.
How important was it for you to have a woman to look up to that was already doing that kind of thing, as far as you deciding, hey, that's what I want to try?
I get asked that question a lot, and I got to say that I think it was less seeing another girl do it. Don't get me wrong, is amazing, and I love it. And I know a lot of the girls personally that pinstripe, and I think every one of them is going to tell you that art isn't sexist in a way. You know what I mean? We just see cool art and we want to replicate it, and that's awesome. Being a hot rod girl in general, you just are or you aren't. You're either into it or you're not, and you got to be passionate about it. And if you are, you're part of the club. And it's Doesn't matter where you come from, race, creed, religion, sex, any of it. It's just that you're into cool cars, or just that you're a pinstriper, just that you want to actually dedicate the time to learning a craft. So seeing another female pinstriper was big, but not as much as how welcoming the entire hot rod community and pinstriper community was to me.
Well, that's good. And one of the things I've noticed is I've known Johnny for what, 10, 15 years now. And I've watched what he started doing to what he does today. And I don't think he ever thought he had the artistic ability.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, from doing it, you pick up more, you see what other people are doing, and you enhance that and make it your own. He does his panels and the bowling pins, for example, that each one is more extravagant and detailed than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
And he does a lot of the glass too, but most of them are full glass bottles, not the disappearing ones.
And the crazy thing too is, right, not the broken looking ones.
Yeah, exactly.
The crazier thing too about the art form, like you're just saying, we progress and alter our art as we go along. And to a lot of people, they're going to see that it's just a whole bunch of lines. And, you might have coach liners they're really just running straight lines, but every pinstriper will tell you, you can see another artist and pick them out by their pinstripes. Like, it's, to a lot of people, it's just doodles, but I've seen Johnny's style over the last few years grow exponentially, and I can still pick his out of a crowd. And that's pretty dang cool. You can see certain coach liners that'll run two lines all the way down a Cadillac, and they're spaced so perfectly and so evenly done. You can go, oh, I know that's so-and-so's work. Oh, I know that's so-and-so. It's just really impressive. The further we go along, the more we kind of differentiate ourselves and perfect that talent. And it's kind of really cool to see, actually. I mean, seriously, Johnny, I was just looking at some of your work the other day, and well done, sir.
Thank you. I appreciate that coming from you. Real quick, Randy, I striped at the Classic Auto Show in 2018. 2019, they reached back out to me. I mean, personally, I think it was Motor Trend then that was doing that. And they asked me if I knew a female pinstriper that I could bring in, because they wanted the female people. We were there to do demonstrations and kind of let them know what we do, what it's all about. And they wanted a female. They wanted a lady, a girl, it didn't matter what, that could pinstripe to show this craft. And Emily was the first one I thought of, because I've seen her at Santa Maria. I've seen her around Grand Nationals, and she's more than seasoned in this craft. So, and that was all part of it. That was all, progressing and learning and growing. And I've seen her, don't settle with the last piece you did.
Right.
Old timer told me, try to beat that last piece you did.
Yep.
And we were at the same show. And I don't know if you remember, I walked by a few times just to give him a hard time, but our booth was actually right down from yours on the opposite side of the building, or whatever they had us in. There was just a covered area.
Yeah.
And I was just amazed to see what you guys were doing. And I remember as a kid seeing cars with pinstriping. The first one that I remember was Tommy Ivo's T-Bucket. And that was, like you said, straight lines, basically. It was just following the contour of the vehicle to enhance them. Yep. And then it got more flamboyant with the customs and such, with the striping on the trunk around it. And he's done this on my car, around the keyholes and around the door handles and things of that nature, that became more extravagant, but also highlighted more of the car's lines, or took you away from a specific straight line and made you see the contour of the car.
Absolutely. And it's crazy the difference it'll make too. The funny thing and interesting thing about the art of, especially when you want to start talking about customs, like let's say a flame job, the difference of the pinstripe and the outline to flames can drastically alter the look of it. And that, Johnny, I mean, seriously, you can contest to this. You pick the wrong color and you might screw up the whole paint job. But at the same time, you add the right one and it takes it from here to here real quick. So it's really kind of impressive.
Yeah, John got you my flames on my coupe, or the second time around. Johnny says, no, these are a little plain. We got to change this. And I go, what are you going to do? And I went over to his house and he added just a little bit of blue to the tips. It made the flames pop even more. And
yeah, suddenly they're dancing and you didn't even know they could. Exactly.
Yeah. Then he put a brush in my hand and I was able to stripe the louvers. That was about as far as it goes. 2-inch wide louvers. That was it. I got the line almost straight.
Louvers is almost a dirty word in the pinstripe world. I'll tell you that much right now.
Okay, I can always bleep it out.
And by the way, Johnny, thank you for the compliments. That means a lot to me. When you invited me to go do that show, that was seriously a pretty huge marker in my little notch in my belt there. So thank you.
You're a big deal in this industry, Emily, whether you know that or not. Well, I know some people that like to think that they're big news. I can step away from myself and I mean I've been striping 10 years. That's it. 10 years. And I picked up a brush at age 60. I'm 70. And
you picked up the brush for the first time at the age of 60?
At age 60, I could see straight. I wasn't shaking, and I said, I can do this. So, I've had to play catch up with some of the greats in this industry, and Emily is one of them people, Randy.
How long does it take? And I'd like to answer from both of you guys. I mean, Johnny, obviously you're a late bloomer, if you will. How long did it take for you to really get to a point where you were comfortable and felt proficient enough to display your wares as you do? And after you're done, Emily, the same question.
I'm going to say I still haven't. So I'm curious to see what Johnny's going to say.
I sold my first piece that somebody asked me, what are you doing with that? I'd like to buy it, in 14 months.
Wow.
And inside of, I would say 2 years, I was painting with Von Hot Rod in his booth. I think it was around that. I might have it wrong a little bit. And I no longer felt like I was in his shadow. I was Johnny Martinez. I was me. And I was doing what I know how to do. And I had my niches and my little, syncrasies and like that. So 14 months, I sold my first piece. Within maybe 2 years, I was striping with guys like Von Hot Rod, who's a very private person. I even went to his house. And he gave me the full dime tour of his house and pointed out everything that I was not allowed to take pictures of. and I was in 2 years about that. So there you have it.
Huh.
Wow. Emily, how about you? What was your startup?
So like I said, I went to school for body and paint when I lived out in Florida, and they had a specialty course on pinstriping done through DuPont at the time. And a friend of mine took it because, again, I didn't think that it was something that I could ever tackle or I could ever accomplish. And
but how long did it take before you felt proficient at it, or you felt good about it to display? Or as Johnny said, if anybody has ever bought any of your work?
So I fiddled around with it and I goofed around with it for years. I would say seriously, probably a good 5 or 6 years of just doing it from time to time and doing little pieces here and there. And I will be honest with you, my mom bought, I think, everything I owned, and I mean bought, because she was so proud of me. And I come from a super hot rod family, but it was honestly not until I got invited, there's a funny story, by accident, to GNRS to stripe with all the stripers. And
Grand National Roadster Show.
Yeah, Grand National Roadster Show. And I was pulled aside by a couple, like Tom Kelly and Hot Rod Pete and Marshall and a couple great painters. And they all told me, you got an act for this, you got to go. And I think it was in that moment that I was like, oh, this doesn't have to just be a hobby. I can actually do this and I can have fun with this and I can grow. And it was really that moment for me. It was the first time I got invited to Grand National Roadster Show.
What year was that?
Lady doesn't want to tell her secrets.
Your year. Well, what year?
I think, honestly, I think that was like 2014. I think is okay. About
so that was your first time at Grand Nationals. Now you're on the. Are you on the West Coast now, or are you back in Florida?
No, on the West Coast now. I moved back about 2008, 2009.
It's time for our every show version of What Was Your First Car, Emily Bradsher?
My first car was a 55 Packard Clipper, actually. Big old boat of a car. My grandparents and my parents said, well, she's only going to hurt other people. She won't be getting hurt herself. So
God, it's almost like you bought a car like that from the U.S. Army or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was overstock, exactly.
Was that a family member's handed down to you, or what was?
So it was actually, my grandpa was clairvoyant enough to know that I was going to be into cars. We helped do my first motor swaps was in his garage. So a neighbor of his had it for sale. And I joked with him for years because the guy was offering his Mini Cooper or the Packard. And I said, well, why didn't you take the Mini Cooper? And he goes, come on. Really? I know what you were going to do with that, kid. Sorry. So I got a boat instead. I loved that car, though. I got to say, that thing served me so well. Actually had AC and factory fitted seat belts, believe it or not, for 55.
Oh.
It was very ahead of its time.
Wow.
Johnny, we talked about this subject when we had you on some moons ago, but go ahead and re-answer it for us. What was your first car?
My first car was a 57 Chevy. It was a 210 post car. Was at a gas station for sale. And my dad was going to help me buy a car, and I wanted that one. Had cheater slicks raised in the back like they did back in the day. And he thought that that wasn't an appropriate car for me, but I did. And I always felt like I had the last word. Man, was I stupid. And he helped me buy that car, and it had a 283 with a 3-speed, and I even put a Sig Harrison cam decal on the window to make people think I had a Sig Harrison cam. I think it just wasn't idling right, but it sure sounded good. But that was my first car. It served me well. It was a lot of fun.
These youngsters, they have these new cars. I don't understand.
I know. Well, Bob, we might as well mention ours only because we're back on the show, and
You don't have time. You got too many cars.
no, our first car. What was your first car, Bob?
1949 Dodge. Paid $25 for it. It was sitting on a used car lot over by Van Nuys Airport in Southern California. We were driving by to go to Jack in the Box for dinner. I was 15, and I go, wow, look at all those old cars. Well, behind that was a junkyard. So these were the ones that were running, barely. And talked my mom into it.
Wow.
And it had a fluid drive. They called it gyromatic drive. Well, I didn't know what that was. I thought I taught myself how to drive a stick. You couldn't install it. It was a clutch with a torque converter with a 3-speed automatic or 3-speed manual transmission. The only reason you used the clutch pedal was to shift.
Yep.
And I thought I taught myself how to drive a stick. I wasn't installing it. It was great. It was doing this, and then I blew the engine up.
Real quick, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And how long did you have that car?
About right until I got my driver's license. I blew it up before I even had a license. I would drive it in and out of the driveway, and when my mother was at work, I would take it out and drive it. I didn't look any different from the time I was 15 till the time I was 16. I still looked small and puny. But so I took it out and I drive it up and down the street. Well, I drove it up the street. I went to drive it back, and boom, threw a rod. Now I did nurse it back into the driveway, into the garage in the apartment building we lived in. And as soon as I stopped it, it puked.
Yeah.
All the oil came out, and it was done. And I got in trouble with the apartment manager for leaking all the oil, but I cleaned it up.
It was done, and so was the deposit for the cleanup deposit for your
Yeah.
mom.
And I sold it to a wrecking yard for $25, which is what we paid for it. So we were okay. And then I went to work at the gas station on the corner next to the hotel, or next to the apartment building I lived in. And my next car was a 1959 Simca. And I worked there to pay for the car.
Wow.
That was a Chrysler, sold in Chrysler dealerships, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a Chrysler car built in France.
Right.
Oh,
So it was one of their affiliate companies. It was a 4-cylinder, 4-speed on the column. And by this time I was confident I knew how to drive a stick, even though I'd never done one, really. And man, that car was great until I shortened it by meeting a Buick.
What happened?
I like that description. I'm meeting a Buick. I like it.
And by the way, just to keep this clear, it wasn't Mr. Simca meet Mr. Buick. It wasn't that formal. It was probably, and it happened a lot quicker, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he stopped. I didn't.
Oh, nice.
And I'll blame it on my car affection, my craziness of cars. There was a famous Corvette Custom sitting in a Shell station, and I go, "Wow, look at that!"
Oh,
Got him. I broke his taillight and crushed the front end of my car.
at least you said it wasn't a pair of legs walking down the sidewalk, and that's what caused it.
No, my girlfriend was sitting alongside me, so I knew we didn't do that.
There you go.
I don't think it mattered. We still looked.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I was going to say, how many of us have not had that kind of accident before?
Right, exactly.
You
Exactly.
My 86 T-Bird was never the same after that. Yeah, I completely get it. By the way, just to fill in the gap, yes, my first car was a 64 Dodge Polara, ironically, kind of like this one. It just appeared magically. So it's, in fact, this one here is not the one, but it's like one of my old cars that I sold, and it actually went to Sweden, which is where this is. And this was my car after the guy took control of it and put blue stripes on it. And by the way, you can tell, let's see if I can point this over here. See that?
There, right there.
Yeah.
This is how I knew it was my car. That is a Chrysler Performance West Club logo.
Mhm.
And I left it on the car when I sold it, forgot to take it off, and it went to Sweden. And I was looking one day, one of our friends, Bob and mine's friends from Sweden, I asked him to see if you could find it. He did online, and I knew it was it because of that logo right there. So that was interesting. And by the way, the previous car that I had in high school, it was a four-door, I want to say police mode, sedan. And one day we decided to dress it all up and put polka dots all over it because there was a car show at the high school. And I put polka dots on it and eyes over the windshield, over the lights, front lights, because I wanted to make it a funny car. Thank you. Thank you. Bada bing. And you know something? High school
bad.
kids have no sense of humor. I did not get an award.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with that?
I'm surprised they didn't call it Wonder Bread.
Right. I gotta say too, I got it. That paint job, the stripes on those that they did on this Polarises and stuff like that, always cracks me up because it was so. Still to this day, actually, is so controversial. You'll find so many people that love it for being something different of the era, and a whole bunch of people that just think it's the most hideous thing that's ever existed.
Well, to be fair, it's a Ram Chargers tribute car. So in other words, on the side, they've got Ram Chargers. Interestingly, it says 63 on it, but it's a 64 Dodge.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Weren't the stripes red?
Yes.
No,
The stripes are red on that Ram Charger, right?
On the original.
If I remember
the
right.
original, yeah, I believe it
Yeah.
was. This is
Wow, I got a good memory. One really good thing, Randy, that I had an opportunity to do was pinstripe one of Von Dutch's originally owned motorcycles. I repinstriped what he had pinstriped back in his day, and talk about eerie feeling. I think he would not be a happy man if he saw me doing that. Our banner just fell off.
He wasn't a happy man, anyways.
Look out! But if I may,
poster fell, Bob. Is that what happened?
Yeah. But in saying that, there happens to be something that I know Emily did that was real special. The Steve McQueen.
The Steve McQueen art.
And I think you deserve a couple of minutes, and you need to listen to this. This is seriously cool stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of. I'm working on a panel that's here, but I do some panel art, and some canvas art that is. I dabbled in it. I just tried it as a whim. And Steve McQueen's car. I mean, if you guys remember, that was the year that the Mustang was at Grand National Roadster Show. They were just talking about it was getting all the press leading up to the auction. And they brought the car, and it was right next to where we were pinstriping that year. And I had heard about all of this, and I was so excited. You get the chills thinking about that car. And, I'm not, probably shouldn't say this. I'm sure I'll get in trouble, but I can honestly say I licked that car when it was there because I was so excited. I just said, you know what, I'm going to do something that I can say that I did. And I licked that car, but I did some canvas art of one of the screenshots from Bullet with him doing, just coming around a turn with the tire smoke and the whole bit. And I remember it was his son that came by and said, I can tell you right now that that's my dad that's sitting in that car. And this was like the second one I'd ever done.
Wow.
And I remember, I did some pinstriping off the side of it. And it was just this huge moment for me of not only hearing that, okay, your art is good enough that I can recognize my own father in, but that I got to do it while the car was actually there on premise.
Unbelievable.
I licked it. I licked that car.
Okay.
Have you ever
Okay, I gotta ask.
Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta ask because I maybe I'm missing something. But when you say licked, do you literally mean licked, or is that you
Yes.
actually, or is that slang
licked
for
the
something?
fender. I can tell you it's on the passenger side at the fender corner right by the headlight. Because I had to do something really quick. My hands were full, and I wanted to say that I touched that car before security was there. So
The only clean spot on the car is right there, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Before COVID.
Before COVID, yes, before COVID, I was safe.
Okay, so I have to ask this as long as we're on the subject of licking a car. On your board behind you,
Yeah.
there are 4 words to your right. Yes.
That one, yes.
What is the? I wasn't going to mention it unless I had to, and as long as we're on the subject, those 4 words. What is that all about?
Suck, squeeze, bang, blow would be the 4 cycles in a motor. Thank you very much. Ba-dum-bum, got it. It's a work in peace. I mean, a work in progress that I'm working on. So, you got to demonstrate the 4 cycles.
Yeah.
Sure. We
Almost lost the show.
There goes our GP or PG rating. I mean,
there it goes. We lost that
earlier. And it's over. Okay.
And I'm the guy that looks like that would be kind of where I live, but I'm the innocent one.
No, yeah, you are.
You
the
may not be
one
guilty,
in this situation. You're welcome.
Yeah, well, he may not be guilty, but I don't know about innocent.
Good point.
Oh boy. Okay, so guys, Emily, what car is in your garage right now?
I am currently, I have a lot, but currently I am working on restoring my 67 Fairlane. So,
oh wow.
We'll hopefully turn that into a light daily driver, probably just a cruiser, but we plan on getting to the drag strip with it eventually. So
now, do you do a lot of the work also, or do you just do the paint, or what do you do?
Yeah, I do what I can. My husband, honestly, we own a diesel repair facility down here in Oceanside, California, and he does most of all my stuff. He also came from Top Fuel from, more the years than he wants me to admit. But so I rely on him, and he has me do all the work. That was kind of the rule with this car. We've done several other ones together before. We're currently working on a ramp truck for it as well. But my rule with my car was, you can tell me what all the best options to do would be, but I have to do it myself. So we're working on that. And then body and paint's all mine. He doesn't get to touch the body. So
very nice. So that's the only car you have?
Well, I've also got a 67 F-250 that has an LS in it. Shockingly, I bought it like that. And we also have, let's see, our families, we also got a 67 notchback coupe. Mustang, we've got a 67 fastback Mustang, and a 71 F-250 Highboy, and a 71 ramp truck that we're working on. So
what's your daily driver?
Daily driver is actually a BMW. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I don't have any daily driver hot rods at the moment. So they're all projects. So I get to drive the Beamer is my hoopty.
Bring money with you.
Yes. Yes. And it's a diesel, believe it or not. I've actually got a 335D. So thank God for that, because otherwise my diesel boys couldn't work on it for me.
All right. And Johnny, I know you have a truck.
You guys in your more than one vehicle, I'm gonna go home and burn everything I got. I feel so inadequate now.
Oh, come on.
I'm gonna go sit outside.
You have more than just
inadequate, Johnny. Sorry.
You have more than just a truck. Come on. There's a great story behind that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, Randy, it does. It's got a great story, and I've been really lucky with it. 1929 Ford Model 8 pickup. Yeah. And it served me well. It's been in the light a lot of times.
Because
I
it's a
got Grand National history,
yeah.
and it's done a music video, which is a whole story in itself another time. You'd love to hear it.
Well,
He was a stand-in for ZZ
remind me
Top.
who the artist was.
The music artist,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it was a local band out of Fraser Park.
Oh.
Zville is what they call themselves. And we did this out in the desert. Again, it's another story that you're gonna want to hear one day. But it's
Okay, Johnny, you can come back.
I somehow I had to do that.
He's got such
But-
a long drive.
Yeah, but it's got history. I won a show at Barris. It's music video. It's been a magazine. It's done some pinup. It's been a lot of places, and I've had really good luck with it. Thing is, I'm at shows more without it now than I am with it. Cecile Buckmeyer, and I think you met her.
You've had her on
Yeah.
the show.
Yeah, she's the one that did the repaint on it. She was 26 years old at the time, which I wanted to say way back early on this show. Girl power. I believe in girl power. Girls can do anything and everything that we do. It was going to go into the hangar at Costa Mesa, the McGuire hangar. I was invited. So we switched gears and painted it that color and brought the truck in. Nobody knew I had done that.
Wow.
And and boy, I'd
What
say
show was that, Bob? Do you remember?
Yeah, Cruising for a Cure.
Right, Cruising for a
Oh
Cure.
yeah.
cruising for a cure. And so went into the hangar, and it was a nice surprise for everybody. And it just, it's gone on from there to now, So it's been successful.
I'm always interested in how people look at their situations and what motivates them to keep improving, to keep going. And why don't you, if I can get you guys to share a little bit about what motivates you in your pinstriping career, Johnny? What keeps you going? What makes it interesting?
I've always said it's the people that drive me, but it goes a little further back. When I had cancer, Randy, I was doing things in the beginning. I was doing hard chemo, and towards the end, I didn't have no more anything in me left to move. So I was not doing anything except sitting in a chair. I'm on my own. People tease me. I'm on my own lawns today. I don't have a gardener. And and yesterday, in fact, my wife was laughing at me because I was outside doing things and I was laughing. And I laugh by myself. And people probably look at me and go, "There's something wrong with him." But I go back to the cancer days when I couldn't when I couldn't do anything. So now I beat it and I grounded and I got into the car scene, and that went in a positive. And then I learned how to pinstripe, and I started doing what I'm doing for some amazing people. And I've met entertainment people and became friends with them, TV people and rock people. Alex Van Halen, I had a chance to hang out with him. And I've met people like that. And then I've met artists across the board. Emily in particular one, and the talent that she has. That's what motivates me, is the people and the fact that when I had cancer, I couldn't do not only that, I couldn't do anything. So, and I didn't know how to pinstripe back then, but if I had, I wouldn't have been, I wasn't doing anything. So it goes back a little further before the people.
Well, and although if you haven't seen the earlier edition when Johnny joined me back on the original talking about cars, your wife also was ill.
He was diagnosed with cancer in 2000. Sorry,
Uh,
2001.
Wow.
And then I was diagnosed in 05. Sorry. I
Well-
still get wound up. But it was a tough
Something
deal.
to get wound up about, Johnny. That's okay.
It was a tough deal, and and now I know people like you guys doing this kind of thing, and the things that I do. And it's incredible, what's dropped in my lap. And you guys and the three of you and everybody else that's helped me. That's what motivates me now, is the people, more than anybody will ever know.
What about you, Emily?
Wow, Johnny, thanks for sharing that. I didn't know that about you and your wife. So that's pretty inspiring and pretty neat to hear that kind of pushed you on the back and pushed you through in a way to enjoy the good times, so to speak. So I just had to say that, but I have to agree. It really is the people. It's the people you meet along the way. It's even the spectators. I mean, every pinstriper that's ever done it in a crowd can tell you that the things you'll hear are the same things over and over again. Like, you must not drink any coffee. I can't even draw a stick figure. I don't know how you do that. How do you make it so symmetrical? You learn all these things but then you'll get these people that'll come through and just be like, wow, that's so interesting. And they ask you about it and they want to know the history about it. And they want to know, how'd you get into it? Just like what you guys are doing today. And that kind of brings it all home in a way. And art can be so subjective, but it's really not for us. I mean, in this world and in this custom culture, it kind of brings everybody together. I've got little kids that are 6, 7 years old asking me to try. Absolutely. Here's my brush. Let's go. I'm going to show you a couple things. Or you got like my daughter is turning 16. She'll be driving hopefully at the end of this year. And she's starting to get into it. And so she'll come into the studio with me and do a couple things. I've actually got a piece over here that her and I did. And that type of thing. And then you meet artists like Johnny and like our friend Mike. And I've got friends in Japan from doing this. And it's just so, it kind of feeds your soul a little bit. You know what I mean? Not only do I get to have fun and be around hot rods all the time, but I also get to do this art and connect with people in a different way. And that, just like exactly like Johnny's saying, it's that connection that really just kind of makes me keep on going. But trust me, there are times when I don't want to, when I'm super frustrated and I've wiped a panel for the second or third time, that I just go, okay, I'm going to set this down and remember why I enjoy it again.
Well, thank you guys for joining us. It's been great sharing with you. It's been great hearing your stories. Thanks again to Emily Bradsher. Thanks again to Johnny Martinez. I'm Randy Kerdoon. That's Hot Rod Bob Beck. And we will see you next time on Talking About Cars. So long.
See ya.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Emily. We do appreciate it.